90 to 92. The Gerry Ryan Show, Monday to Friday, 9 till 12 on 2FM.
There's nothing in the world that she hasn't been to. No, sorry, there's nowhere in the world. She's talented, intelligent, good-looking, fearless and fun. You already must have guessed who my next guest is. It's RTE's own Kathryn Thomas, presenter of No Frontiers, who's been nominated for IFTA's TV Personality of the Year, and we're right behind here on the G Ryan Show. She joins us in the studio this morning to talk about her adventures, and hopefully we'll get some recommendations for holiday destinations this year, and she can also give us her opinion about what she thinks of the other contenders. But first of all, let me read from an RTE press release. I think it's a press release anyway. From Claire Duggan, the head of everything in television. Right? Claire Duggan, the director of programmes, RTE Television, who doesn't, isn't prone to outbursts of this nature. I know Claire well, I've known her for a long time. And I really wish she'd say something like this about me. And I'll talk to you, Claire, after the show. Okay. When Kathryn joined, this is what Claire Duggan, the head of the whole thing, said about you. When Kathryn joined RTE Television 10 years ago, we knew that we'd found a future star. Her down-to-earth, charming presenting style undeniably endears her to a broad swathe of the viewing public. She's a natural. But she's also a hard worker, whose ease on screen belies her professional approach to broadcasting. We're very proud of her work over the years for both young people's programmes, entertainment and lifestyle programming on RTE Television, and wish her the very best of luck in this year's contest.
Isn't that lovely?
Well, it's kind of...
Oh, are you going to take your tongue out of your cheek now?
It's incredible. It's fantastic. It's wonderful.
It's a lovely compliment.
Yeah. Now, first of all, if you want to vote for Kathryn, let's get this in straight away.
Get the plug in there, Gerry.
I bet you don't even know how to vote for you, do you?
Well, I was there on Ryan the other night, and
I enjoy that programme. It's good fun being on it, isn't it?
It's good, yeah. He's great to have a chat to.
We do Tuberty, we do on this programme.
But it came to that part, and how do people vote? And I couldn't remember the number. The only thing I could remember was my phone number in Carlo, which is 5 digits as well.
No, that wouldn't work.
So no, that didn't work.
No, that
but
wouldn't work.
Luckily, like you, he had it in front of him.
Yeah. Okay, to vote for Kathryn by text, you can text IFTA, IFTA Kathryn, that's KATHRYN, IFTA Kathryn to 53345 from the Republic of Ireland, and 85556. This always cocks it up when they've all these different numbers, doesn't it? Texts cost 60 cents in the Republic and 35 pence in the North of Ireland. So that's IFTA Kathryn to 53345. I think there's another way of doing it as well. You can go onto the website.
Go onto the website, ifta.ie.
www.ifta.ie. Voting closes on the 11th of February, which is today
at midnight.
So please start doing it now, immediately. Now, first of all, are you excited that you were nominated?
Absolutely. I'm thrilled.
Bearing in mind, by the way, that I wasn't.
Well...
So, I mean, I don't know how
Have you never been?
Have I never? No, never been, no.
Really?
No, should they think I'm shite?
We'll have to get Claire Duggan to write up something.
Yeah, this will be Claire Duggan's one. Could I just, for the record, RT, do not think Gerry Ryan is shite. Actually, he's quite good. Well, some people think he's quite good.
Well, of course you're quite good. You're still here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's what. So are you, by the way. How long have you been here?
10 years. But that's the thing, when I found out first, I was genuinely, Gerry, I was so shocked, and on the phone I couldn't.
And were you not a bit frightened?
I not at the time, because I was just, when it all sunk in, and I kind of, there's people like Miriam Callaghan and Bill O'Hurley who won it last year. Yeah. And who've been in RTE.
Miriam hated being nominated for it.
Some people say, and I know from Miriam as well, that it can be a bit of a poison chalice, because it's a nomination, but then there's huge pressure, for a big campaign to start, and it is a public vote, but there is a sort of a campaign that coming onto your show, coming onto Ryan's show is obviously going to help. So,
let's be honest about it. In the commercial broadcasting world, like on Today FM and other radio stations, my sister radio stations and my colleagues in the commercial world, they virtually turn over the entire station to campaigning for their appropriate nominee. So, it's no harm in us doing a little bit of it.
Absolutely, and I think that's the way it's been
like
done for years.
Oh.
No.
Sorry, I mentioned a pharmaceutical product. Sorry. Go on.
Have you got a bit of a shaky head?
No, I'm addicted to it, I think.
I lived with 2 nurses who had Solpadeine every morning.
Yeah, well, that's not a good idea. I think you should kind of leave the odd break. Did you not hear the ad? Only take it if you're not well.
But they used to have it every morning. I have my vitamin C tablets and they'd be knocking that back.
Yeah, good. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
A Glennisk low-fat raspberry yoghurt.
Okay, well, that's why you look like you do.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been well. I've been
What's been wrong with you?
Well, no. Well, I was out this weekend and sort of made a bit of a comeback after I had malaria. I contracted malaria when I was away in Papua New Guinea. So I had 10 days in the bed and I decided it was my comeback weekend this weekend. My best friend is getting married, so we went out and had a girly dinner and then went out on Saturday night. So I'm just coming back around now this morning.
Well, I mean, you look reasonably healthy. In fact, you look very healthy indeed. Malaria, though, is not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. But you sometimes think some of the things you have to take to not get malaria are nearly as bad as it. Now, I've taken the tablets. I never got it. I took Lariam, I remember.
Oh,
what else?
You hear all sorts of strange stories about
you hear all sorts
Lariam.
of strange stories about everything. But I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of whatever stories you ever hear, you have to take something.
Yeah.
How did you get it? Because you didn't take something, was it?
No, I mean, going to Papua New Guinea, we knew that it was going to be the most physically challenging trip. And Papua New Guinea is the second high risk zone outside Africa. I wish you could see Gerry down in one with that Solpadeine. Good man. Sorry, I keep mentioning it as well. I should stop.
Yeah, stop.
But
if Solpadeine would like to give us shares in their company, please feel free. But we can't say that we endorse Solpadeine as a pharmaceutical product because we work for RTE.
So can I name the tablets that I was on then? This is the second thing. No, I mean, going out there, we had every precaution taken because we knew.
Did you get all your injections and everything from the
all
Tropical
of that,
Medicine Bureau guys?
Yeah, but the only thing to prevent against malaria is I was taking Malarone, which you take before you go out there. You take them and then you take them for a week when you get back. But I probably, they reckon I was bitten by an infected mosquito within the first 2 days of getting there, because it was 2 weeks into the trip. It was the last day and I woke up in the hotel and I was just in ribbons. I was, nausea, sore joints, fever, diarrhea, everything. And because the little I knew about malaria, I thought that it took about 2 to 3 weeks for minimum for the symptoms to show their face, if you like. So
you just thought you was some kind of turbo
holiday
tummy bug.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of food poisoning or water, because at some stage in the jungle we ran out of bottled water and we had to drink river water, which we boiled, and we had purification, the purification tablets.
The water just tastes so disgusting. Yeah.
But we felt that it was safe, but I thought maybe that's...
No, it usually, I mean, it nearly kills you, so I reckon that it probably kills all the bacteria. So no, you were bitten.
So I was bitten, and the doctor came around to the hotel. I couldn't get out of the bed, and he came around and he took one look at me and he said, that's an old bit of malaria, because it's so prevalent out there, it's so common. And the thing is, it's totally curable and totally treatable if it's caught early. So he just gave me a shot in the ass and a load of tablets and basically said he would prefer me not to fly for 3 or 4 days. But I knew at that stage, if I, it's one, it's not contagious, and two, once my main organs, he went off, took a blood test, and he came back and he said, well, I'm not worried about any of your sort of your liver or your lungs or your heart or anything like that.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good to have your main organs, okay.
So I got home here and went straight to the Tropical Medical Bureau, who are fantastic, I have to say.
Graham
really.
Fry's guys.
Yeah. And they ran all the blood tests as well, and I'm still waiting to get test results back. Just to get a proper diagnosis as well.
And obviously I'm hoping this is what's happening to you because it's more dramatic. You see the traditional image of somebody with malaria is every couple of months for the rest of their lives it's and sweating, and then eventually everybody's around the bed and Kathryn dies.
Just to add spice to the story.
Well, it might get you some pity votes for the IFTAs. She's dying.
But no,
give her last wish. Give her personality of the year.
There's 4 types of, 4 strains.
You bastards, she's dying. Give her personality of the year or go to hell.
What was the number again?
I'll just give you the number again just for the dying Kathryn Thomas. IFTA, text IFTA Kathryn to 53345.
Shameless plugging. It's fantastic.
So no, you're not going to die then, are you?
I'm not going to die. And yet.
Okay.
And
do you get the?
For 3 days I was like that in the bed. I was hot
Did
and
you
cold and
hallucinate?
shivering. Yeah, there was a bit of hallucinations.
Who did you hallucinate about?
I can't think. I would like to say you were a part of them.
No,
but no, that didn't happen. It was just not really hallucination. It was just sort of coming in and out of consciousness. It was.
And was there people looking after you, or was it the standard, OB crew who go, yeah, we're just going off for a while. Do you want anything? We got a takeaway there. We'll just leave it at the side of the bed if you're up to it.
No, I have to be very, very honest and say Ruth and Mark, the director and the cameraman who were with me on the trip, were brilliant, because at that stage we had gone through so much. I mean, there were tears and people, physically not being able to continue. We were climbing mountains, and it was, to be honest, it was everything that I thought Papua New Guinea would be. I wanted to go because a couple of years ago, sitting there with the tea and the Kit Kat watching a documentary on the Discovery Channel about cannibalism and the headhunters of the Highlands and all of that.
Yeah,
and
what a holiday. But
to me, that was where I wanted to go. It just said everything exotic and everything adventurous, and it just sounded like the type of place that I would love. And it took me a while to convince RTE of to sort of look into organising a trip out there. So eventually we decided to do a whole 23-minute adventure
special. Because it
special.
redefines the idea of a holiday programme, doesn't it, really, in a way?
Yeah, but you see, the thing is...
cannibalism.
But the thing is, the
Not
thing about
for me,
adventure...
by the way. For me, that's...
right down your street.
As far as holidays are concerned.
But I think adventure travel is changing in this country. It's not just a niche market.
Oh, extreme holidays are now the order of the day. Well, for a particular age group, they're certainly the order of the day.
But we're finding now in surveys that the Irish travel market are doing that. It's not just backpackers or students that are looking for this.
No, sorry, because backpackers and students can't afford extreme holidays. Extreme holidays you have to have a few bob.
You have to have the few bob.
To get to the cannibals.
Yeah. Well, certainly Papua New Guinea is expensive.
And, apart from the malaria, did you eat human flesh?
No, I mean, it was from the word go. It was just.
Have you ever eaten human flesh? No.
Have I ever eaten human flesh? Not that I know of.
No.
No, I could have visited somewhere.
I mean, if the pygmy guys in Papua New Guinea had offered you something, would you eat it?
Well, I remember having this discussion with my friends. You know that movie Alive?
Oh, yeah.
Where,
I interviewed one of the guys who was on the plane.
You did not?
An amazing man. Oh, look, absolutely incredible guy. And he was so straightforward. He said, I'm sick of listening to what you're saying, Mr. Ryan. I was going, I thought I was doing really good. And he said, look, we were dying. There was food to eat. We ate it.
Well, it's a very logical way of looking at it. And I feel if I was in that situation, I would.
You'd do the same thing.
I think I would,
okay.
yeah.
Let's have a look at the list of other nominees. Stephen Nolan, Michelle Doherty, Kathy Hoffman, you, Paul Dempsey, Sheena Ní Bhraonáin, Lorraine Keane, Julian Simmons. If you had to eat anybody, if you were dying, who would you eat there?
Julian Simmons.
Julian Simmons, you'd eat Julian Simmons if you're dying. There's plenty on him anyway.
That's what I was going to say from the photograph. He's the one with the most meat, and then I come second. Okay. So
not at all. I wouldn't say that. So Julian Simmons you'd eat Julian Simmons.
Oh, I would, yeah.
Julian Simmons, he would. Yeah, I'd eat him. Actually, no, I wouldn't. Who would I eat? I'd eat Sheila.
Would you?
Yeah.
I'd say she's good eating.
Yeah, I'd eat Sheila Ní Bhraonáin. Who else would I eat? To be honest, no, you're right. If you were really starving,
if you were going to do
Julian's
it, you might as well do it properly. So
Julian's the man, I think, isn't he?
I think so.
Okay, so all right, back to Papua New Guinea. Okay.
Well,
by the way, for anybody who's just joined us, she's dying, and she's also up for an award with the IFTA's Personality of the Year, Kathryn Thomas. Please, before she dies, give her last wish. She's suffering from malaria. She's actually sweating in front of me as we speak. Text IFTA, IFTA to Kathryn. Text IFTA Kathryn, Kathryn. I'm spelling it out because some people are stupid.
Okay.
Like I spell Kathryn with a C, for instance. So that's text IFTA Kathryn to 53345 before she dies. Okay, back to Papua New Guinea.
Back to Papua New Guinea. Okay. But the funny thing happened. A funny thing happened on our arrival into the airport. We had our tapes, and we had to register our tapes going through customs. And the lady behind the customs desk said, "You're going to have to pay for each individual tape."
Oh, so I've had that leaving Kenya to go into Somalia. You'll have to pay for the tapes, and you're going, what?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a tax on the tips, $10,000.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's some countries that do it, and so, I mean, get
It's
away with it.
utter bullshit.
Yeah, but she was sitting there at the desk, and she said, "Oh, you're Irish," and she said, "We have a new office of Irish people out there, 15 or 20 of you here." And I looked up, and over her head was a big Digicel sign, and I was like, I can't believe Dennis O'Brien has made it to these parts of the world as well. I knew he'd been to the Caribbean, and I was like, when did this all set up? And she said about 6 months ago. So there's been Irish people setting up the office.
The pygmies get their phones from Dennis.
Well, came out of the airport, and who was standing there getting ready to get on his jet? Only Dennis. And I couldn't believe it. Here we were going to the last frontier, the final frontier, you know.
And the man is there.
And he's standing there. The first person I meet is an Irish person off the plane. So I went over and I was like...
And he's a good guy to meet away, by the way. Very welcoming and always in good form.
Great form. Yeah. And couldn't have been more helpful. He came over and he's like, what the... are you doing over here, Kathryn? And he said, don't tell me you're here promoting holidays. And I said, yeah, we're doing an adventure travel programme for nothing. He was like, it's a very dangerous place. You know, he said, we don't go anywhere without our security team. And he said, you know, where are you going into the Highlands? He said, I'm going to have to get you 2 phones. And I went, to be honest, Dennis, like, we're out here to sort of get away from the phones. And it was only afterwards he was standing there with his whole marketing team, all the, you know, the security staff, everybody. And I just thought, oh, bad idea turning a phone down from Dennis O'Brien. And in fact, he sent his security guard over to our hotel, and with phones and with numbers and contact details and everything. If we needed any help, if we needed helicopters to be flown out of the jungle, anything that could be done, he was willing to do. And
I think that's what's known as a friend abroad, isn't it?
He was just great, you know. And he's, lovely guy. So, but it was just funny that the first person I meet was an Irish person. And then we went out for drinks on the last night, and I met a friend of mine from Carlow sitting at the bar. I mean, just bizarre.
Yeah, isn't it strange how the Irish can insinuate and infiltrate themselves into the most bizarre place? You're in a Jack's in, you know, Mogadishu or something like that. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Gerry.
Who are you with? I'm in the American Delta Force there. I joined the American Army a couple of years ago there. And you're going, what? How did you get here? I can't tell you.
I know.
I actually had that experience, this guy in Irish. You're going, what? I said, where's your uniform? We don't have friggin' uniforms. We're the advanced team.
I had another strange one in Cambodia a couple of years ago, and we were literally on the back of a moped and driving down one of the side streets, and I saw Tom's Bar, I think it was called. So we said, listen, we stop in and we'll have a pint. And we were both on the backs of the bikes, myself and the director Judy, and went into the bar. And your man was from Enniscorthy. He'd been out there for 7 years, and he had set up the bar. He had a leg shot off. He had one leg, which he lost his leg on a landmine out there. But everybody in there, all the Cambodians who were sitting in the bar, the sing-song started. They all knew Spancil Hill, Caledonia, all, like, I mean...
That's quite worrying, isn't it?
Well, yeah. But it was just bizarre, you know. That sounds like me on Eurostar. God. But yeah, I mean, you just meet them everywhere. And Irish people abroad are fantastic, you know.
And did they generally recognise you? Kathryn, how's it going?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people in...
I've got a bar here. Yeah, I know there's been a couple of murders and everything, but would you mention the name of the bar?
But Australia and New Zealand is brilliant because there's so many Irish people down there, you know. And they're there in their droves.
Did you get to see the things that you wanted to see?
In Papua New Guinea. Yeah. It was everything I expected and more, because it was very physically challenging. It's still very untouched, you know. It's still very remote. You feel like you are totally
has it got
removed
that kind
from
of Lord
civilization.
of the Rings thing about it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the highlight of the trip for me was when we flew into a place called Simbai, and we were trying to make our way to a village called Wyam, which had only ever received 2 Dutch tourists 2 years previously. So they're very remote. And when I say...
It's not really a tourist economy, sure, it's not.
No, and see, the thing is, there's no transport network, there's no roads. So essentially you fly in a small plane, which is an hour flight from anywhere, and then you have to do a 6 or 7 hour walk on a goat track to get to this village. So there's no sort of forest paths or roads. There's no cars anywhere up in the Highlands at all. Like there's no roads at all. So on that walk, you know, when you start, you walk for 2 hours and you walk deeper and deeper into the jungle. And the further you walk in and the further you walk into the jungle, the more you feel that you're walking away from civilization. And we just were given this amazing welcome. The chief from the village, who knew we were coming because one of the guides...
You're the third tourist to turn up there. Of course they gave you an amazing welcome.
Yeah. And I mean, they knew...
I mean, surely he brought his son out and said, "Here, marry him, please."
He brought all and sundry out. He brought everybody out. And we just had a welcome of 200 of the tribe dancing, playing drums.
And are they in the nip? Do they have funny underwear or what?
No, they just wear grass. The women just wear grass skirts, and the men wear grass skirts as well. But apart from that, they're naked.
Okay.
So
that's lovely, isn't it?
But it was really lovely to see as well, because the women, there was particularly four women out there who were in their 70s, and it's quite unusual because out there in Papua New Guinea, generally the men live longer than the women, because women are second-class citizens. They don't get the best of food.
They do all the work.
They do all the work, and death in childbirth is huge as well, because they're so far away from hospitals and all of that. But I saw these women in the distance sitting down on the hill, and they were just sitting on their hunkers, and in their 70s, naked, just bar a little grass skirt, and this... I don't know, it was a sense of power that they had, or an empowerment.
But it's also this kind of bizarre dignity that they have as well.
But that's it. Yeah. It's a dignity, because then I saw them later on, and they were in, as the evening came in, they were in sort of rags, Western rags, and bits of T-shirts and stuff. And it was completely different. That's the word. It was dignity. It was almost, when in their nakedness and in all their sort of natural way, there was a huge sense of dignity and power that they had that totally was lost when they put on our sort of Western rags, you know,
when they put on their shredded Nike top.
Yeah. So, but they were incredible women.
Did did they speak English? I mean, were you doing the "We are from RTE"? No, we can't mention any products on the show, so you will have to put away your gourd. Unless it's a generic item that's available across several different groups.
Why do people do that? My dad does that in France.
Well, my mother used to do it.
It's ridiculous.
Buying knickers in Palma. I'll always remember. She went, "I want underwear." And I remember going, this is a La Perla lingerie shop, right? Even at 10 years of age, I was fairly confident.
La Perla, no less.
I was fairly confident they were going to turn around and go, "Yes, madam, we have got underwear," which they did. I presume the Papua New Guineans didn't do that.
So La Perla not out there yet.
No, so La Perla, so you discovered that.
My mother used to make me do that in Duns, you know, the aisles of Duns, but you never went into the changing rooms.
Put on your knickers in the aisles.
Well, not knickers, but, you know, the school pants and the shirts and everything else. And that's my childhood memory of shopping with my mother.
Been made undress in public?
Yeah.
That's very traumatising.
But I think that a lot of people did that with...
No, in fairness, I was brought to Arnott's a lot, and mostly we were, as children, we were put into the change room. I have to tell you, are your parents alive still?
They are, yeah. Well,
you could probably take some kind of legal action against them.
She's going to kill me now. She's been campaigning around Carla like a good thing now. And
yes, by the way, for the campaign, we have in studio going for the IFTA Personality of the Year. She's dying.
Even I'm embarrassed now with the shape.
Dying from malaria as we speak. Kathryn Thomas, text IFTA Kathryn, Kathyren, IFTA IFTA, IFTA Kathryn to 53345. We've already established, out of all the other potential candidates, Kathryn, if she was starving to death, such as the Andean, rugby team who are on their way to oblivion, and a few survived as a result of eating their compatriots. Kathryn would eat Julian Simmons. And I think we're both...
there's a headline for tomorrow.
I think we're both agreed you'd probably last quite long on that too, so...
I would imagine so.
We'll go on for ages. So. Okay. In studio this morning, we have one of RT's finest and best, actually the best if the head of television has anything to go by here. The director of programme says, yeah, you're the most talented person in RT. That's good, isn't it?
It's great.
It's fantastic. She's also up against Stephen Nolan, Michelle Doherty. I'm sorry, who are these people? Kathy Hoffman, I know her. She works for a PR company. She has a PR company.
That's right, yeah.
Kathryn Thomas, I know you. Paul Dempsey, who's he? Okay. Sheila Ní Bhraonáin, we know who she is, don't we?
I know Sheila, yeah.
Yeah, Sheila's great. We said we'd eat her if Julian Simmons wasn't there, because it'd be good crack. Lorraine Keane, well, we certainly know We certainly know Lorraine Keane, don't we? Yeah, there'd be
do.
no eating on her at all, really. You'd starve.
Lorraine's... Yeah,
No, but you'd starve.
You would, yeah.
You'd starve. That'd be useless altogether. That's a starter. Right, okay. And then there's the full main course, Julian Simmons. I think you stand a good chance. Do you know that?
Well, I'd like to think I do, because there's been huge support.
But going back to what we were saying earlier about Miriam, Miriam be the first to admit it, because I remember when Miriam said, "Oh Jesus, they're after nominating me for this fucking thing," and I said, "You have a good chance." I said, "We'll back you." I said, "I think it's a good plan. It's good, and I just have a sense of humour about it." But she was right in the one thing. It's one of those, because the way, you're nominated for a Grammy, for instance, right? And so that's Wednesday. Gerry Ryan's nominated for a Grammy. Everybody very proud in Clontarf. I don't win it, obviously.
Right.
Somebody else wins it, Gerry Ryan fails.
Yeah.
Gerry Ryan loser. Gerry Ryan no good. Gerry Ryan crap. Gerry Ryan shoots himself, right? So that's the whole problem about nominations.
Well, I think I'll just go with a positive attitude from here then. Jesus, if it's not the malaria that'll kill me, it's obviously bouts of depression.
Now, what were they asking about? Oh, Katrina, put on your headphones there. There's people asking questions, which is always a good sign.
Alrighty.
That's very good, very good. Katrina, good morning.
Good morning, Gerry. How are you?
Very good. I've got Kathryn Thomas here.
Best luck in the awards, Kathryn.
Thanks, Katrina. Thanks a million.
No problem. Kathryn, just a quick question for you. Have you ever done the Inca Trail?
Yes, I have.
Can you give me some tips on it? Because I plan on doing it later on this year.
Okay.
I'm not very fit.
Well, if you're not very fit, I would recommend that you do the leg of it that I did, which some people choose to do a 4 or 5 day
What is it,
walk.
first of all, Kathryn?
Sorry, Machu Picchu. It's up in the Andes, and it's basically an.
And when you say up in the Andes, this is well up in the Andes.
Yeah, it's in Peru, and it's an old Inca
tomb.
Yeah, well, not tomb, more sort of an ancient site, and it's the most famous. I think they've.
But isn't there a mummy there? Isn't there the famous bodies, the famous mummies of Machu Picchu? Isn't there a couple of dead fellas from a long time ago there? Isn't there, Katrina?
Not that I can remember. There is.
It's the Inca people, and it's the ancient trail that they used to take.
Yeah,
but there's bodies up there.
Oh, there are, yeah.
There is, yeah. And usually it's a 3 or 4 day hike.
Yeah.
But you can do a 2 day walk, which you do one overnight at a base camp that's there, and that's very doable. The other thing, since I've been there now, it was 6 years ago since I've been there, but they now operate a train service directly.
That's my Machu Picchu.
Isn't it good? Directly from Cusco up to quite near the top.
Machu Picchu.
But I don't want to take the easy way out.
Don't take it.
I'm going to try and get fit.
Yeah, well then...
to get a train up the side of the office, to me, wouldn't be living the experience.
No, sure, you're going all that way to have that experience.
Exactly.
But the 2 day walk, it is a good physical challenge, but it's very doable. Mm-hmm. The accommodation in the base camp is very basic. I think it's one room with 10 or 12 bunk beds in it, so everybody sort of kips in together.
God, communal. I hate communal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no ensuite.
I know, just to make friends along the way, wouldn't you? Because I was thinking of doing it on my own.
Yeah, there's because most
safe?
people.
Well, what's your feelings now, for instance, on that, Kathryn? A woman going by herself?
No problem at all. Because
really?
No problem at all.
We have a tape of you saying no problem at all as our body's being shipped.
Oh, Gerry.
No, because in Cusco as well, there's so many of those adventure travel agents that you can go into, and they put you into groups of 4 or 6 or 10. I think they kind of keep the maximum to about 10, so you have a better experience. You have more sort of
the local authorities have also taken a fairly hardline stance on the number of people that they will allow anywhere near it at any given time, haven't they?
Absolutely, yeah. There's that was 2 years ago. I think they brought in these new rules.
And you're not allowed to take any of the artefacts out anymore or plunder the place. Apparently, there was an awful lot of that going on as well.
Yeah. Well, I think just because of the huge interest and the huge growth of travel in South America, they had to.
What kind of spend would Katrina be talking about there, roughly, Kathryn? Would you have any idea on that?
Well, my advice would be use the local agents on the ground, because there's so many of them out there that you wouldn't have a problem. You don't have a problem sort of involving yourself in a group. On the other hand, if you're somebody who likes to have it's a worry. It's a worry to kind of leave everything to the last minute. I'm that type of person who does that. Who kind of just turns up and makes my plans from there. But I know a lot of my friends and a lot of my family there's a certain amount of organisation to get done beforehand to make them feel comfortable before they go. So there's Beacon South America are fantastic. Beacon South America, okay. They're fantastic. We've used them quite a bit. Trailfinders, you can't fault Trailfinders either. But you're talking, I think you're talking in and around.
What are trail finders, sort of CIE tours of Machu Picchu, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, they use the local agents out there as well, you know. But
I'd really want to organise, Katrina, before. And the only thing that would piss me off is if I got there and there was, first of all, a much cheaper operation and it was more exciting. But you can always change then.
See, I planned on just getting my flight out, finding my feet. Then, as you say, go to sort of an agency, meet up with a group of people and climb it that way.
See,
I think that's
so brave compared to me.
I think that's what I would do as well, Katrina. And also, Cusco is a town that there's so many people. Sort of, it's the hub. It's where everybody passes through. It's the meeting point for the Inca Trail. So you're not going to be on your own for long. Do you know what I mean?
Can I ask the mad question? How old are you?
Very personal question. I'm 37, Gerry.
Oh, that's young. All right.
No, I was very young.
Okay, I'm going to bring somebody else in here. Stay here, Kathryn. We've somebody else who's done the Inca Trail. Caroline, good morning.
Good morning.
Very good. You did it?
I did indeed.
Okay.
On honeymoon.
Oh wow.
Yeah, not exactly.
You didn't want to meet up with too many people.
That's fairly mad, Ted, all right. But anyway, go on. How did it go?
It was fantastic. It really was an absolutely amazing experience. We did the 4-day hike.
Okay.
And now, I'm not extremely fit, but I wouldn't, I'm kind of average. And I found it very, very hard going.
Oh, no, don't tell me that.
Yeah, you'd really want to get out walking. And
well, that's what I plan on doing, start getting a bit brighter now, to get out every evening for a bit of a walk. And then I heard of places around Balradary and that you can do these sort of climbs around there.
Yeah, you see, you're climbing at altitude, so
yes,
the oxygen gets very thin, and at the end of day 2, you get to a point called Dead Woman's Pass.
Dead Woman's Pass?
Yes, and it's not called that for nothing.
Oh, God.
Why are there dead women there?
No, but there could have been. One of them anyway. Honeymooning. No, it's just, the
But I mean, at the end of the day,
and
did you get there?
Oh, you did, yeah, absolutely. We camped.
And were you there for the sunrise coming up over?
We were,
oh,
yeah.
Isn't that just incredible?
It's absolutely amazing.
That's
yeah,
what
you reach there at like 6 o'clock in the morning. But the only thing I would advise, there's a very limited number of people allowed onto the trail each day.
Yeah.
I think they allow a maximum of 500 at a time or something. So it's the type of thing that you would do well to book before you go.
Oh,
you can wing the rest of it, but I would book
the trail.
Book your pass for the Inca Trail, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Caroline.
Thanks a million.
And when are you thinking of going, Katrina?
Well, near the end of the summer, September, October.
What weather-wise? What's the best time to go, Kathryn?
That's a good time to go. Good time to go. You're in around you're in around the early 20s.
Because I presume at this time of the year it would be freezing, would it?
I don't think it ever gets too cold there. No, I don't think so. But so I know September, October. I think we were there the end of August, if I remember correctly. It was so long ago. But I think you'll be grand. But I do think. Sorry, the last caller there, I can't remember her name.
Neither can I. Caroline, was it?
It's Caroline, yeah. Caroline said, to get out and get walking, and you have the option, to if you feel that you've got a level of fitness by then, I would say do the 4-day because you're living more of the experience. But
the last thing I want to do is go to take a train. I'd be so disappointed in myself.
Yeah. No, the 2-day.
God, I feel like a turkey listening to the lot of you.
You can put me on Operation Transformation next year, Gerry.
Well, don't you? I mean, actually, Operation Transformation would be a good way of preparing for it.
It would.
Because they do see
the rest of the gang. Send the 6 along with me.
Every time I get into an edit suite and we're sitting down, I see people climbing mountains, and I was going, I didn't know they were going to be doing this.
Well, it's fun. When we were out in Papua New Guinea, the first thing we had to do was climb Mount Wilhelm, which is the highest mountain out there. It's 4,509 metres. And Mont Blanc, just to give people an example, is 4,808, the highest mountain in Europe. Now, we were so concerned about mosquitoes, malaria, jungle walks, rivers, tribes, all that we actually didn't really fully get a grip of what we were going to climb. And it took us, we got up at 1 o'clock in the morning, started walking. And again, Katrina, it was sort of like the Inca Trail. The top part of the Inca Trail is quite steep. It's rocks. You're using your hands quite a bit as well. There's a lot of steps. Okay. And this was the same thing. And to be honest, our cameraman had to stop halfway up. He didn't get up. And it was the altitude. Yeah. And we didn't really sort of really factor in.
But did you get up the whole way, did you?
We did, yeah, myself. And we had to take the camera up. Ruth took the camera and was trying to operate
so
it
the
up
birds
the top
made
of
it
the
up to the top of the...
The birds did. We made it up. Mark is going to kill me now for saying that.
I wouldn't have any worry mosquito-wise or injections or shots or anything like that.
Well, as I said, go into the Tropical Medical Bureau. Yeah. They are fantastic, and they don't get enough praise in my mind. Yeah. They really they're the ones that will give you all the information.
And never presume that you know, because sometimes I tell you the main mistake I've made is thinking I needed stuff when I didn't need it.
Yeah.
But a bigger mistake is to actually go and not get the correct inoculations. Katrina, come back and tell us how your preparations are going in a couple of months' time.
I will indeed, Gerry. And Kathryn, thanks a million. Best of luck. Okay.
Thanks a million.
Another quick question on text. Plenty of people apparently asking this. A good honeymoon destination.
Ooh, good honeymoon destination. A favourite of mine is...
See, somebody likes climbing mountains. I don't know whether you're safe to ask this kind of question.
Well, I mean, like one of my favourite countries that I visited in the last couple of years is Ethiopia. So people kind of go, what?
Yeah, that'd be great for a honeymoon. All right, Kathryn, go on.
No, the Maldives, I think the Maldives are amazing.
I've never been there, but I've seen the photographs and it looks absolutely spectacular.
It is. And I think... Certainly, I've recommended it to a couple of my friends who've been and loved
idyllic.
It's just, I've been to the Seychelles as well. Yeah. Now, the Seychelles, to me, it's stunningly beautiful. Picture, postcard, beauty, beaches, all of that. But there is, in my honest opinion, there's an element of snobbery still there. It's uber exclusive. It's, 6-star, sort of hideaways that... You're almost sort of afraid to wander around the place, or you're sort of watching your P's and Q's. With the Maldives, I think and especially now, there's so many good packages to the Maldives where you still get absolutely exclusive hotels, but it's more relaxed. You're wandering around in your flip-flops. You're not dressing for dinner as such, whereas there's an element of that on a couple of the islands that I was in the Seychelles. But the Maldives is fantastic. Escape 2 are a great tour operator to log on.
It's a Muslim country.
It
isn't
is, yeah. But you can still get your
Can you get your gin and tonics and
you can, yeah.
wear your bikini.
You can, yeah. But see, the thing about the Maldives is what some people don't like, or what there's no sense of culture there really, because the islands which were previously...
it's a sort of al-barrage thing, isn't it? It's created.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with that.
No, because if you're there and you're going out to just lie on the beach, read your Jilly Cooper, have plenty of time in the bedroom with your partner, that's what you're there for. You're not going to
riding
the Maldives
and reading, as they call
riding
it.
And reading, yeah. So you're not going to the Maldives for culture. Malé is the main island, and that's where the most of the population live. But a lot of the islands, though they're run by local staff, you're not going to kind of get an insight into the Maldivian way of life. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in the Seychelles, it is more, it is more culture orientated. But still, to me, the Maldives is number one.
Very quickly, in the 30 seconds we've left, what's the maddest place you've ever been to?
The maddest place I've ever been to? Probably Ethiopia, which is why it's my favourite. It's an incredible country, and I think mad in a sense that it totally changed my opinion of it. You have images of the starving babies and drought.
But also it's a beautiful country as well. It is
stunning, and the people are some of the best crack people. Like, they love a party like we do. Yeah. They love a dance. They love to sing, and it's parties go on for hours. And Addis, I just think is a
there's
fantastic
an elegance
city.
about the Ethiopian people as
well.
well.
The women are the most stunning women. Forget the Brazilians. The Ethiopian women are incredible.
All right, it's been a pleasure having you with us this morning. Once again, if you'd like to vote for Kathryn, please do to IFTA. Text IFTA, IFTA, KATH or YN to 53345. She's in as our nomination into the Sony Bravia TV Personality of the Year, and we wish you the very best. I hope it works out well for you.
Thanks a million, my dear.
It's been a pleasure. Good morning.
This is the Gerry Ryan Show on 2FM. Call 08457 585 285 from Northern Ireland.
Heather, good morning.
Good morning, Gerry. How are you?
Very good. Welcome. You were listening this morning, obviously, when I read the email about a very confused and conflicted listener. Yeah. A friend of hers leaves the child, a 2-year-old child, I think, isn't it, at home. admittedly only for 10 to 15 minutes in the morning while she brings the other 2 children to school. Her pal is deeply, deeply concerned that this is very dangerous, wants to know what other people think about it. Is it something that should be done? Is it a risk that's allowable or conceivable in any way as something that she should take? And if it's not, what should she do? Should she tell on her, basically? Should she contact the authorities? Or even maybe, I suppose she was asking in a sort of roundabout way, is maybe should she approach her pal and actually say something to her about it? Now, you were listening.
I was listening, yeah, and it just brought back something that happened to me myself. Now, I have never left my child alone, but when I was a baby, now I'm talking 18 months or less, my mum used to leave me in a flat on my own to go to Mass. Now, I'm talking about 40 years or so ago now. You know, and the thing came about because I had in my mind this vivid image of this bedroom and the way the bed was laid out and the way the door was and the window, and I remember holding on to something and chewing and chewing and chewing and waiting for this door to open and somebody come into me, and she says, "Oh my God, I don't believe you remember that." And I said, "Well, is it something that happened?" I thought it was a dream, you know. She says, "No," she says, "that was..."
How old were you?
Well, she said to me, "My God," she says, "she couldn't have been 18 months old." And I remember standing, chewing at the paint that was on the, you know, the side of the cot, and waiting for somebody to come in to me. And that's when she said to me, "Oh, well, you know, you slept a lot when you were a baby, and I would pop off to Mass and you'd be sleeping." And
but of course they did that in the old days.
they did. I'm talking like...
I mean, I know one of the things that would have been completely normal and recommended would be to take the child, put the child in the pram and bring the child down the back of the garden, leave the child down the back of the garden to scream its lungs out until it went to sleep on a summer's day. And that would have been considered completely normal.
Well, I think that might have happened to me as well, because I have got loads of baby photographs in the old-fashioned pram. Yeah. In the bottom of the garden on my own. So maybe she left me there.
Well, I mean, that was completely normal.
Yeah.
And a woman who didn't do that, or a woman who succumbed to maybe taking a more hands-on, you know, embracing approach to taking care of the child, would have been considered overprotective and doing harm to the child. That's the way it would have been read in the old days. I know. Well, from stories my mother's told me, like, which she I hope you haven't tried to make your mother feel guilty about this now, Heather, have you?
No, well, she's dead now, so she won't mind.
Oh, all right, well, she won't mind. Who knows? Maybe she's listening as we speak.
When she was alive, I did more than make her feel guilty for a number of years. Yeah. But no, I did say to her, I said, "Goodness me," I said, "you know, if you did something like that now, they'd take me away from you."
And what do she say to you when you would...
She just laughed. "Oh, actually, you were asleep. You always slept." But obviously, sometimes I didn't, you know, because I have this, still to this day, when I can picture the room, along with that is an overwhelming feeling for somebody just to come in, you know, come in through the door, waiting for the door to open.
So did you feel extremely lonely?
Yeah, lonely, yeah. Just wait. I knew it was a matter of time, but somebody would come in, you know.
Anybody?
Well, it was usually my mother. No, I don't think I felt like anybody, but just, you know, just a figure to come in, you know. It was, like I said, it was only 18 months or less, you know. But still, at that age now, and that's like 38, 39 years ago, I still have that sense of feeling, you know. And as I said, for a long time, I thought it was a dream that I had.
No.
You know, but it actually, because she was absolutely gobsmacked and she couldn't believe I described the whole room. I described where the bed was, where the wardrobe was, where the window was, where I was standing, chewing on this paint, you know.
Chewing on the lead paint on the cloth, probably.
Yeah.
Poisoning yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I have a very distinct memory. I don't have several memories, but I do have one or two memories. And one is we had a budgie, I remember.
Oh, I had one too, yeah.
And the budgie sometimes used to get out. Now, I don't think my mother really liked the budgie very much. I think often when my father went to work, she used to just let the budgie out of the cage in the hope that it would fly away. But it didn't. And I remember one morning, and I couldn't have been much older than the age you're describing, this 18 months. Mm-hmm. I remember standing in the cot, and I was looking out through the window, and there was a Blessed Martin statue. I now know that's exactly what it was. And I used to look up the black image of Blessed Martin, a black priest. And I used to look at him because I'd never seen a black person, obviously, at that stage of my life. So I used to wonder what's wrong with him. Why has he got a black head? So that was something that was obviously I was considering. And then the budgie flew into the room, flew over to me. I grabbed it in my hand and I killed it.
Oh my!
I squeezed it to death. I was so terrified.
Yeah.
I screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed. My mother came in, I remember, and she was screaming. I was screaming. The budgie was screaming. Then the budgie stopped screaming, and I can remember it's clear as if it was now, just letting it go, and the budgie dropped down the ground, and my mother started laughing, and she said, "Your father will go mad." I can hear her saying it, or she said something like that.
Yeah.
But I can remember that utterly clearly. Now I remember telling my mum about that, and she said, "Go away out of that." And then she came back to me. She said, "No, that's exactly what happened."
Yeah. I think parents probably would hope that you can't remember certain things.
Well, I think we all do as parents. Have you children yourself?
I have one child,
Yeah, I bet you do hope that the child doesn't remember some things.
She remembers everything, Gerry.
Yeah.
She can hear the grass grow, and she can see the grass grow. She remembers everything. She surprised me. There's things that she got. She's 8 now, and she's had presents and Christmas presents and birthday presents from years ago. Yeah. And she'll say, so many years later, "Oh, I want to play with this because so-and-so got me that." Now, I would have forgotten who got her what, but she remembers everything, to the jackets our granny gets her, to the toys that our nana gets her. Honest to God, unbelievable.
Well, we know where she got that from.
Yeah, but come here, you're talking about your budgie. My mum had a budgie when I was little now, and it was her sweetheart, and it was a green one called Seamus.
Seamus,
and we lived in Wales at the time, and my granny from Donegal here, she came over for a holiday, and she went out into the garden one day and she got some, the dock leaves, and brought it into the cage and gave it to Seamus anyway, and the next day Seamus was dead. And the neighbour had said that he'd put weed killer down on his garden a couple of days before.
Oh,
so my mum was in absolute tea. I'd never seen her as upset. And then years later, about 10 years later, I managed to get a budgie to myself, a blue one called Bluey. Yeah. And I loved this budgie, and I looked after it, and I was teaching it to speak and everything. And my mum didn't pay so much attention to it than she did to Seamus, Come home from school one day, and I seen the cage standing on its stand outside the front door, and the door of the cage open.
Bluey gone.
And I went in and I said to my mum,
"Where's Bluey?"
I said, "Where's Bluey?" And she says, I was cleaning him. I said, "What do you mean you were cleaning him?" She said, "Well, I took him outside to clean him." And now I knew that was a lie, because she'd always said to me, "You never clean a bird outside."
But how would you clean him anyway? Oh, clean the cage,
she
meant.
Yeah, clean the cage. So,
she was giving him a little bath or something.
No, she took the cage outside, hadn't she? Because she knew exactly what she was doing.
She let Bluey go.
She let Bluey go, and then my dad come home from work, and I was saying to him about Bluey, and I could hear him in the trees beside us.
Bluey was up in the trees?
Yeah, and my dad says, he says, "Don't worry," he says, "the other birds will get at him." And I said, "What do you mean they'll get at him?" "Well, they'll kill him because they're jealous of his colour."
Oh yeah, budgies and canaries don't last long.
Oh.
And did they get him? Did they get old Bluey?
No, did not. I didn't even have a body to bury. No. I was devastated.
Sure, Crow probably ate him for breakfast.
Oh yeah. Well,
poor
he'd have had a good healthy brood anyway, because he was I looked after him, but obviously, I think my mother decided it was time just for no more.
We had years ago, I remember, when we lived in Marina, we'd Sid and Nancy. Well, they were my wife's budgies, actually. Sid and Nancy. And Sid had some kind of a disease, so his head actually turned into a block, like a building brick. Like a small child's building brick. So he didn't have a beak anymore, he didn't have eyes, didn't have anything like that. He actually just had a block. Now, he was a fantastic conversation piece. I mean, you could, if you had people over, you go, look at Sid, look at him. And they used to go, they thought that we'd actually maybe glued something onto his head, for theatrical purposes. But he'd actually, so stupidly, I remember bringing him to a local vet. A vet is now dead, actually. And I said, "What do you think of this here?" And I said, "The wife's a bit worried about him, but this fella Sid." And he said, he says, "I'll fix that." And I said, "What have you done?"
Yeah.
He'd broken Sid's neck.
He broke his neck.
Yeah.
And did that help him?
No, it didn't help him. And it didn't help me, because my wife was outside in the waiting room going, "How's Sid? Have we got some drops for him or something like that, And I go, "It's a bit of a problem there with Sid. he had a heart attack when he was being examined.
I'm not surprised at a heart attack.
Yeah, so...
And the vet's
Anyway, and Sir Nancy was never the same after it.
Yeah. Well, she didn't catch what he had, no.
No, it was a disease, obviously, but it was fascinating. He actually had, if you think it, almost the size of a child, well, about 2/3 the size of a child's building block as his head.
Yeah, the shape changed and everything, did it?
Well, no, he didn't have a head that you would recognise anymore as a budgie head.
Oh, right.
Just an actual little block on top of his body.
Like his neck swelled up to match his head then, does it?
No, think of a little building block, right?
Yes.
Take off the budgie's head and put that on instead. That's what he had. And he was doing okay. He was doing okay until we brought him to the vet.
My God.
There you have it, Heather. Anyway, we've learnt a lot this morning, I think. All right, good morning.
Bye.
2FM.
Maeve, good morning.
Hello,
Maeve, how old are you?
I'm Ace.
8 years of age. Are you on a holiday away from school at the moment?
No, we came home.
You came home from school, especially for this phone call?
Oh no, not. We didn't come home from school. We haven't even got to school yet.
You haven't even got to school yet? Okay, well, that's a good start to the week, not to be in school, and it's nearly 10 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, now you've been up and you've been very busy over the last while, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you have been writing songs.
Yeah.
What's the name of the song that you wrote?
Raindrop Queen.
Raindrops, what's the rest of it?
Queen. Raindrop Queen.
Raindrop Queen. And why did you write this song, Maeve?
Because mostly when I'm inside, it's raining. So.
And where do you live?
I live in Dunard House, Kenny Abbey, Glassmatlown.
And does it rain a lot there?
Yeah.
And do you put your nose up to the window sometimes and watch the rain coming down and all the raindrops dripping down?
Yeah.
Did you ever look at them racing each other?
What?
Did you ever look at the raindrops racing each other and wonder which one is going to get to the bottom of the window first?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you to do something quite difficult today.
Okay.
And I might even have a present for you if you're able to do it.
Okay.
Can you sing the song?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you need to take a big breath or anything before you start?
No.
Okay. When you feel ready to sing Raindrop Queen, you start, okay?
Okay. When there are raindrops, I stand outside, dance in the puddles, and never cry. I see such beauty when raindrops fall. I'm the queen of raindrops, and when anybody dies, I just put a raindrop in their eye. Now I'm sitting on my throne in my enchanted world. I love everything around me, from raindrop animals to raindrop people, soldiers and their weapons. I'm the raindrop queen.
That was fantastic. I'm going to phone up Louis Walsh and tell him we found a new star. You should win Eurosong. You should be singing the Eurovision.
Yeah, I want to. How come Dustin's going in? Can I not join in?
Well, you're
Put my
saying
song in it.
if a turkey is allowed to sing, why can't I?
Yeah.
That's a good point and one that RT is working on a response to as we speak. I have no answer to that, but I think that if you'd been in early enough and if you had written Raindrop Queen a couple of months ago, you'd be certainly representing Ireland at the Eurovision Song Contest. Can you dance?
Sort of.
You'd have to make up a raindrop dance, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I ride my pony
And you ride your pony and everything. Well, you could have your pony in the act. Your pony, you could come on stage on the pony. Wouldn't that be a great way to start and have all the lights on you as you came on? It'd be fantastic. People would be amazed.
Yeah.
Well, now tell me, what's your favourite thing? Do you like Barbie or what do you like?
I have a Wii, a Nintendo, and all this.
So you like the Wii, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, well maybe we might be able to get you some games for the Wii. Because there's not an awful lot of girl games. Sure, there's not for the Wii.
No.
No. What game have you got already?
I have Pit of Funnel.
Mm-hmm.
Wii Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Wii Play.
Yeah.
Super Mario Galaxy.
Oh, I love Super Mario. All the Super Mario stuff is brilliant.
Super Mario Paper.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Woods, and that's all.
And you've got Tiger Woods Golf, have you?
Yeah, and wait, I've Ratatouille as well.
And Ratatouille's brilliant. Ratatouille got a prize at the BAFTA Awards, one of the big competitions for films in England last night. So they won a prize for that for best animated picture. I think Ratatouille's fantastic as well. All right, I'm going to get you something for the Wii, okay?
Okay.
And might even put in a surprise for you as well because you were really, really good this morning.
Can I say hello to a few people?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
I'd like to say hello to all the people in Clare National School and everybody that I know.
Okay, well done. You're a star, Maeve.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.
There you go, 8 years of age. She is a star and the song's great. Good morning, Lou, if you're listening. Sign her up. That's what I'd do, buddy.